He got worked, son, and he cried in the ring after the match, as predicted. And I mean, what more can you say? That it's like John Jones had said it more before the fight, man. He said Daniel Cormier is a great fighter, but he needs to be content with knowing he's the best guy at 205 pounds in the world. That's not me, and that's nothing sad to hang your hat on, So, I'm overcome with joy on the deal. I won a ton of money off the fight. I waited to bet it till the end. I had to lay 3-1 on the deal. But there's just I don't like Daniel Cormier. He's the type of guy that kicks a man while he's down. I don't care what personal issues that he has against John Jones, but to keep bringing up past struggles that he had, man, it just irks me. And he just twists the knife in there, and then he acts like such a fucking crybaby bitch whenever he loses, which was expected. And I'm just glad to. And the thing is, like, if he moves to heavyweight, Jones will move up there to heavyweight and beat his ass at heavyweight too. You know what I mean? Right. And I think it was very honest of him to say after the fight. They said, "What does it do to the rivalry?" And he said, "Well, there's not a rivalry. You got to win some to make it a rivalry." We see that a lot in college football over here, where people will try to tout that, this so-and-so school that's in the same state, they're rivals. Not if one side just kicks your ass all the time. That's not a fucking rivalry. This was not a rivalry. They pumped it up to make it, to sell the fight, to make it sound like it was. And the trash talk alone was going to be enough to sell the fight. They didn't need to put this false narrative in there. John Jones was true to his word, too. Didn't throw the DX suck it sign on him after the fight. I thought it was pretty classy of him. Maybe, the ripe old age of 30, he's kind of growing up. And another thing he said, like I mentioned this on my show last week, dude, I know exactly what it was that John Jones was going to have a little bit of fun with Daniel Cormier once upon a time back in the day. The sensitive little pussy boy that Cormier is, he fucking took it personally, started whining about it. And as soon as John Jones saw that, hey, this fucking guy's acting like a little bitch about it, the idea is to see how far you can take things, And John Jones said it before the fight too. In that same interview I seen when he was talking to the press, he said, "Man, I don't make it a point to talk shit about anybody, but as soon as they say something to me, like when I go in on you, I'll go in hard. That's the only way I'm going to go." Mm-hmm. And that's what he does. I mean, he was saying the things to get under his skin as bad as he fucking could, and he's a master at it. Daniel Cormier is such an easy guy to wind up. And I really don't like his commentating, man. I don't know where he goes from here. If he wants to just keep fighting and win and not have a title, then that's one thing. But, I think that, and y'all are going to say y'all feel bad for the guy, but fuck, man, we're all adults. And this is the fight game. Let's grow the fuck up. Don't be crying in the ring after the fucking fight like you just lost the goddamn gold medal. Take your fucking licks like a man and move on, dude. But, again, we're talking about Cormier, so this guy's the biggest fucking whiny bitch that we've ever seen in the cage, and he's going to he got to shut the fuck up, and I'm so ecstatic about it. I had to stay up till 5:00 in the morning celebrating last night.
Oh my god, it's tremendous! What a breakdown! Oh, Kobe, I don't know how you top that, but your thoughts, Jones DC too. What you got?
Well, I think Kevin's disdain for Daniel Cormier, we might have a little different take and perspective on some of it, but we're definitely on the same page for most of it. So I looked at this fight, and we'll speak to the technical piece first. I went back and I rewatched and examined and broke down the tape of the first fight where John Jones used the teep kick and variations of the front kick, controlled the clinch and the dirty boxing, took Daniel Cormier down, became the first guy ever to do that, and really exercising that lead hand control where he has a 12-inch reach advantage, and he just paws his hand out there and he holds you at bay, and then he delivers the straight punch and works from the lead hand control. This was a much better Daniel Cormier. I mean, he landed 58 significant strikes. He was up around 41%. He capped Jones with the right hand over the top a few times. He even got into playing the lead hand control game and found a way to get inside and still land some strikes. He delivered leg kicks back when Jones was using the teep kick. But like Kevin said, I think 26% of John Jones' total strikes were to the body, and he went low many, many times before he went high. It was almost a variation of the question mark kick that ultimately led to Cormier's demise. I think Daniel Cormier probably won round two. Two judges had it scored 1 round apiece. In the third, one judge had it scored 2 rounds for none for John Jones. So I think the judges had it right in that. I think it was probably a round apiece, but very, very close. I think this was a much better John Jones or Daniel Cormier, in terms of cardio. I thought he brought it much better. I thought he was a better fighter here, but John Jones rose to the occasion. And I really looked at the psychological component because I don't think the narrative was ever, how does John Jones beat Daniel Cormier? It was, how does John Jones not beat himself? And I think to do that, he adopted this attitude that was extremely organic, which was, I don't care. Love me, hate me, I don't care. And he stopped trying to be somebody else. He stopped caring what people think. He's trying to please his friends, trying to please his family, trying to please his gym, trying to please Dana White, trying to please the fans, which is impossible. So instead, he just said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do me. I'm going to be myself. And that really put him into a tunnel, man. And I talked to people at his camp throughout, the journey up to this fight, and they said he was bigger, faster, stronger, hitting harder. And I bought it, and I believed it. And I think that tunnel vision and him ultimately, deburdening himself of the pressures that was on this man's shoulders, he completed the ultimate fairy tale ending. This motherfucker took a bucket of salt, safety salt, and dumped it on Daniel Cormier's head after the fight with his post-fight speech, which was just epic. He's out there praising the guy he just flattened, and Daniel Cormier's over in the corner shedding tears and pushing Dana White. The emotions came out of Daniel Cormier the wrong way, and I think it was ultimately just disappointment. I don't think it was really that professional, but again, lots of disappointment. John Jones handled things. He worked the crowd. Everybody that I think what he said was real. I felt it in the moment. I mean, it couldn't have been a better ending here for John Jones. He rose out of the ashes last night and fucking slayed this game. Brock Lesnar call out, mic drop, end of story. Awesome show.
I mean, it's like listening to you two guys. It reminds me of football, soccer, I guess is what you guys would call it. When I'm watching it with my family, it's like watching it with Kevin Jones. Oh, fuck this dick. Oh, this guy's such a pussy. Oh, he's such a horny bitch. And then I'll have my friends who, like, you would call, like, I'll nickname them, like, Stato. Like yourself, Colby. Like, you would come in with, like, the breakdowns, how many shots on target, percentage of breaks. It's just the total two ends of the spectrum meeting here. And I've got one more of my favourites joining us, Victor Vargas, who's going to help us answer fan questions as well. Victor, are you there, my friend?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. And guys, we're going to make it a three-way for some fan questions. We had quite a lot come in from Twitter, most of which is with the main event, but some other fights mentioned on the card as well. So I'll just who's pouring a large one there? Someone get the ice out as well. That's got to be Kev.
I'm mixing up that victory drink, baby. Bloody Mary time.
Oh, here we go. This is what I like to hear. This calls for a cider as well. Well, let's get into it then, fan questions. So just remind you guys of the one rule that we have, and it's simply that you don't have to wait your turn. Floor's yours, guys. I'll just throw out the questions, and if you want to answer them, that's cool. Nothing from Facebook this week, all from Twitter. And we'll start with @_MagicMike9 tweeted to say, thoughts on Joe Rogan interviewing a clearly concussed Cormier after he said he wouldn't interview KO'd fighters again. What's everyone's thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you kind of got to. This is the main event, man. I mean, I get where he's coming from. This wasn't as bad as, Max Kellerman talking to Bernard Hopkins after he got straight up dropped out of the ring on top of his head and he had to go back to the locker room to talk to him. In a big fight like this, man, you need to talk to both fighters. And I, for one, am very happy that he did it because we get close-ups of Daniel Cormier sniffling and crying and then being honest enough to admit that it wasn't a rivalry. So, Joe Rogan's full of shit, man. Don't believe anything he says. He also said he was going to fucking leave the UFC if they sold it. I, for one, hope that he fucking leaves sometime very soon because I'd never thought the guy was a good commentator. I think he's a worse comedian. I'd never listen to his podcast. Some people always say, oh, did you see what Joe Rogan said on his podcast? I'm like, don't ever fucking tell me to listen to anything Joe Rogan says again. I almost hate him as much as I hate Daniel Cormier. So props to him for getting in there and getting us the meme that has broken the internet.
Yeah, I'll add my 2 cents. Yeah, even live, I was I as soon as I seen him going to DC, yeah, I'm like, please don't do this, and DC kept it minimal. I didn't know what more. I didn't think the guy was gonna go on a long rant. I didn't think the guy was gonna say much. He's clearly very emotional, but it was tough to watch more than anything because you couldn't really see it on the broadcast. But I kept my eye on him as soon as the fight was over, and it looked like he was out for like a good minute to me. He was down on the floor. He was out cold. And the video just came out. Shamakar Sandhu just tweeted it about the overhead shot as soon as he was getting up and hounding him. Yeah, that guy was in no position to speak. But I understand why Rogan did it. It was a historic match. DC is a great competitor, and he was a champion as much as people want to say otherwise. And it was a giant fight. I've kept saying up until this moment that it was the biggest rematch in MMA history, and it seemed like a lot of people agreed to me. And I think even now, I think it's kind of cemented of how significant it was.
No thanks to Bing John letting him get pounded in the back of the head 3 extra
Yeah, that
times
was
while
bad.
his face planted on the fucking ground.
I was going for DC, and even times when he'd get hit, I was like, okay, he might be able to take this. When he took those 2-3 shots on front, this is going to be over very soon. Like 2, 3, 4 additional shots. Like, yeah, that should have been over. I didn't want to see that because there was no need for it. He was out. He was unconscious.
For sure. Let's move on, guys. Jordan Rogers just messaged me to say Jones didn't rise out of the ashes. He rose out of Bolivian marching powder. Let's see if he can keep his nose clean this time. Pun intended. What do you think, guys? Will he be back on the old chung?
I think it's a good talking point because he had actually tweeted something out along the lines of, after the fight, he was going to get turned up in another country. So if he's truly spiritually centered and happy in his life, I think it won't become a problem again. This formula that he's found, I think he has been in, like I said, in a tunnel. I think he's been laser focused and ultimately got him to where he is. Is there a risk of relapse if he's an addict? Sure, that's a thing. That's something he has to admit. But if he goes back to partying, there's a huge risk waiting at the end of that road. That's only something John Jones will be able to answer. But it's definitely something that could be lurking in the rear view.
I'll go left on this deal and give y'all a little insight of Kevin Jones' party lifestyle, man. If you can handle your shit, ain't nothing wrong with a little burger sugar every now and then. But some people can't handle their shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, I do what I do, but I get all my shit done the next day. Some people have more of a problem than others. And, yeah, man, let's hope he keeps this gravy train rolling because Kevin Jones needs the money. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Let's move on then. At Big Boss John tweeted to say UFC 214 main event not even close. DC was just a pretender to the crown. What do you think, guys? Was he just holding the title, keeping it warm for Jones?
I disagree.
You go ahead, Victor. I'll jump on your ass after this.
Jump in. I disagree because it sounds funny to say, but it's true. This was DC's finest performance. A loss to John Jones for a second time was DC's finest performance. I'd never seen him be as accurate. He did get hit a lot, especially to the body, and it kind of seemed evident. If the fight would have gone to the later rounds or to decision, he probably would have lost because that was a lot of damage he was taking downstairs. But he landed on Jones a lot, especially to the head. I think he landed way more than Jones did to him. And it's kind of hard doing it live, especially that I kept my eyes on the octagon the whole time. I kind of thought DC had the first 2 rounds. I think you could at least make an argument for it. But I knew the minute that kick landed that was bad news. Like maybe he could withstand it as he took Rumble's best punches, but you knew right away that he was really hurt by that. But he looked incredible up to that. I thought that was the best he'd ever seen. You seen in the second round when he was egging John Jones on and kind of playing with him. Like I liked what I saw from DC. It was just he just got caught with the perfect shot, and John Jones did look great. He had his moments. He did look rusty. I will say that he did look rusty, but John Jones had a phenomenal performance, and he was not going to be denied last night.
I'm going to totally disagree with Victor, man. I didn't think he looked good at all, dude. I think the body shots definitely played a role in him kind of sucking a little air at the end of it. But, I'll just have to disagree. We'll have to agree to disagree with the panelists, man. I don't think that he looked good. I don't think that he had a shot at winning that fight. I could see the case made for him winning the second round. I don't think he won the first round. John Jones was doing John Jones type things, man, in that fight. And one thing that surprised me was the fact that he didn't throw any elbows, and I think that was by design. I'm not sure what the thought process was behind it, but especially the kicks that he was landing, I thought he was making DC look kind of stupid in there, man. And I thought it was going to get worse as it went on.